Hey guys, good afternoon. This is your girl Amira Nasser. I just wanted to do a quick vlog, um, as I promised I would on a weekly basis. I wanted to talk about my struggles, what I'm learning, who I've met along the way, all the advice that I've been gaining from the owner of Haha Comedy Club and all the comics that are also actors. I have met, um, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but I think it's pronounced Adewumni Hassan. He's he's a well-known comic, and he's done a lot of TV. He's appeared in a lot of TV and whatnot. I also met Jerry Corley. I met him last night at the stand-up comedy clinic in LA. He actually used to write for Jay Leno. I met Sean Kerrigan, who is an actor, comedian. He stars on The Young and the Restless, and very, very good looking. Like, he's insanely hot. He's also an ex-professional boxer. So he's an ex-professional boxer, and now he does acting and stand-up comedy work. I also met, her name is Dolly. She's a producer also, and she's done several acting work, and now she does comedy. She's black, by that. I don't know if that even makes a difference, but that's her name, Dolly. I didn't get her last name. And here's the advice that I was given within this last week. I'm gonna just read it by Sean. Him and I were networking, and oh, speaking of networking, I wanted to also before I talk about what Sean told me. I met a lady by the name of Lexi. We were networking and conversing amongst each other at Little Tommy's Italian restaurant. It's actually a very, very good restaurant, by the way. When I went there to go talk to them, I ordered a salad with lasagna, like a sauce. It was like a traditional lasagna. It was really, really good. And she happens to be the assistant to the one of the agents that books actors for sitcoms, like comedy and like other sitcoms. So I networked with her. I got her email and I actually sent her my headshots, my headshot and pictures of myself, like, different poses and whatnot, and my resume. So I'm like keeping my fingers crossed. Um, but anyway, that's besides the point. The advice that he gave to me was, he said, "You'll never get it." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "You'll never get it," meaning comedy is like hit or miss. He said, "You have to be able to read the crowd and interact with them. If you're telling a story or a joke, it has to be relatable to the audience. Tell your story, but also talk to the crowd, like engage with the crowd. Talk to them as if they are your friends, but they aren't your friends." And I think I already mentioned that in one of my other videos. Um, he he's like, pick on the crowd, but don't like lash out on them, but like have fun with the crowd. And if you're telling your bit, meaning your story or your joke, and they're not getting it, and you're hearing like no one laughing, that's when you should like engage the crowd. But that's what he told me. And then he's like, you have to be able to not enjoy the struggles, but embrace and get used to bombing, which means like if you're telling your story or your joke and no one's laughing at you and all you hear is crickets, like it's silent, you have to be able to grow from that. Grow from that and keep watching your videos and learning about what you can improve in. So that's what I do. And that's the whole purpose of why I upload my videos, whether on YouTube or I watch them, so I can learn and get better and better and better. So the only way to learn is to fail and then succeed. And he also said, you're going to go to a lot of open mics where there's hardly anybody. And you just have to be able to get used to that. And not to worry about if someone's laughing at you or laughing at your, your bit, but just do your set, whether it's 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, it doesn't matter. Just do your set and just enjoy yourself while you're on stage. And don't try too hard. Just talk as if it's like you're telling your family and friends about the story. What else? Ad- Adewumni Hassan, he's one of the comics, also told me it's not about how funny you are. So he was teaching me a little bit about the politics and where comedy is today. He said it's not about how funny you are. It ultimately comes down to politics and how many followers you have on social media, and or how many followers that come in with you to the comedy club. He said comedy he said every comic has a different style, which is true. Like if you look at Joe Coy, his brand, he talks about his son, primarily his son and his mom. Okay, that's his brand. Chris D'Elia talks about pretty much everything. Mostly he messes with the crowd, but he tells stories. Nimr Abu Nassar mainly talks about being Arab, his dad, and now his new fiance, and his mom. And he imitates and he acts. He acts like his dad beating him, and so everything is relatable. You have to relate. It's all about life experiences and how you react to life experiences. Like as of right now, today I just wrote three new stories, and most of them have to do with my mom. And yes, it's embarrassing and it's screwed up, but you know what? It's funny. And I rip on myself first, and then I go into like my mom, then I go into Alex, then I talk about my dad. So I talk about a lot of different things. Um, and when it's like being Arab and how Arabs are very, very different than Americans. Um, but Arabs are similar to the Latin culture because we're both very family oriented, and the Latin culture and the Arab culture, moms are always like, get married and have kids, get married and have kids, get married and have kids. So here's what I've learned, and I'm slowly improving in my stage presence. So I'm improving in the cursing. I also look, some people are gonna object to what I have to say. I think having a little bit of cursing is not it's not bad, okay? It adds spice to it. My cousin objects to that and she says having clean comedy is hysterical. I happen I happen to disagree. Okay? I disagree. I think a little bit of cursing, not like every other word, cursing, but I think putting a little bit of curse words in there, it spices things up. And I'm learning how to say I'm learning how to not say a lot. I'm learning how to not have a gap in between my stories. I I'm getting more animated on stage, but I'm not trying too hard. It's an art. It's really an art. I am learning to, when I start my bit or my set rather, I, like in the comedy world, everybody calls it bit. People call it bit, set, that's a good punchline, one-liner, all that. So I'm learning. And the thing is, I'm a very fast learner, so I've been doing this for about 4 months now. So yeah, about 4 months, I think. I started April 13th. So my first open mic was April 13th. So April 13th, May 13th, June 13th, July 13th. So almost 4 months, I think, right? Is my math off? It's whatever. Um and the fact, okay, so I also wanted to talk about uh what happened at the Haha Comedy Club. and how I was able to get my first show, which I am astonished. Like, I am still on cloud nine. So this, okay, so I drove up to Haha Comedy Club. Mind you, there were a lot of comics that night. Like, there were, I think, about 20 or 25 comics. I'm not exactly sure. And everybody went on stage and did their thing. The MC, Amy, they're called, was it Amy? Or was it, no, I'm sorry. I think his name was Juan. He was some Latin MC. There were three of us. It was me and like two other guys that were going to go up, the last ones. And mind you, everyone left. Like, there was no one left. Little did I know that Jack, the owner, and his wife Terry, they both own the club. So she does the booking. Like, they're both owners, but she's the one in charge of booking. And both of the other comics, so let me back up a little bit. In the beginning, there's something called the bullet. The bullet means any comic can like raise their hand or like obnoxiously loudly say, I want to do the bullet, meaning you want to go up first. I must have been out of it at that time, and I didn't get to go up. I wanted to go up, but I didn't. And I'm actually glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't take the bullet. And I asked the comic, I said, hey, is it okay if I go up? Like, I meant to say something, but I was just out of it. And he's like, well, no, I'm gonna go up already. And I'm like, fuck, okay, fine. But I'm actually happy that I didn't go up because the timing was perfect. So now that I got that out of the way, I want to talk about what happened at the end. So there were three of us, right? There was me and like two other comics. The two other comics said, fuck it, I'll just get my money back and I'll just come another day and do my set. And then I told the MC, you know what? No, I fucking drove all the way from San Diego to come here and do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go up. He's like, okay, you can go up. The two comics actually stayed and watched me perform, which was nice because they didn't have to, but they did. So I had them record it. And that's the night where I talked about the In-N-Out story. Mind you, Alex, I told him not to call me because I was gonna go up and do my set. That fucker calls me, and it messed up my set. So the whole thing didn't get recorded, which is bullshit. And I'm still pissed, but whatever. Whatever. So I still have it. I just don't know how to edit and put it together. So that's why I ended up putting the In-N-Out story from the Cork Lounge. So anyway, I went up. Mind you, I didn't know that the owner, Terry, that does the booking, just happened to be there to watch my set. So I did my thing, and then I had like I did a 10-minute set. So I had about a minute, I think like 45 seconds or like a minute left. So I did my set, and I talked about the In-N-Out story. I talked about Arabs and hillbillies, and then I talked about I think I talked about how big my nose was or something. I get off stage. So I get off stage and I'm about to leave. Okay, I'm about to go home. Terry stops me. She says, you're funny. I want to book you. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it hit me out of the field. Like, it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, that was okay, that was random. And I'm like, I'm sorry, who are you? And she's like, I'm the owner. And I'm like, oh shit, hi. Hello. Sorry, I didn't know. Like, I had no words. Like, I was just, like, I don't know. She's like, I want to book you. Go get Juan or go get one of the guys that does the booking. I want to book you. So they're booking me for August 14th. Mind you, there is a contest, which is August 7th, and she said, no, August 14th. I want to book her for August 14th. So she skipped me She skipped me to do the contest. She put me directly for the 14th, which is an actual show, like an actual freaking show. So I get my first show ever, okay, and I get an 8-minute set. So um so like I'm speechless, right? Like that day I was speechless. Like I was so, like, I was overzealous, and it's just, I was just like, I couldn't think straight, And I had a couple, the comics kind of like hating on me because, like, they wanted that. And Juan, the one that does the booking, um he told me, the less you say to her, the better, because it's really rare that she likes a comic and books a comic. It's rare. She's picky. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you got lucky. I'm like, I guess I did. Wow. So I have to have 5 people. I mean, the more the merrier. You know what I mean? The more the merrier. The more the merrier. So it's called Haha Comedy Club off of Wilshire Boulevard. It's in North Hollywood. And the doors open at 5. The show starts at 8:30. I go up between 8:30 and 9:30, and I only get 8 minutes, which is fine. I can do an 8-minute bit. It's fine. Um, so that's how everything happened. And mind you, when I first started this, you only get 3 minutes. Okay, you only get 1 to 3 minutes to do a bit, and it has to be solid. It has to be strong. So you have to have like really good punchlines. So I went from getting better, getting better, getting better, doing 3 minutes, getting better, to now I'm able to do 5 minutes. Now I'm able to do 10 minutes, like no problem. Like I can go from one liner to a two line, like one liner to a punchline, to doing like a story, no problem. Like I can just, like, you have to be quick with comedy. You have to be able to, like, okay, you got your punchline out of the way. Now talk about like a story. So you have to be like on it. And it's like a hustle. You have to be like all over it. So I'm slowly getting better. And I'll tell you something. In comedy, there are a lot of comics, whether it's female or male, that they have been doing this for like at least a year. At least. And until they get noticed, and then the agent says, or booking agent says, I want to book you. So some of the comics that I've met, they one of the girls that I met, she's been doing it for 2 years, and she just got booked. Like, just got booked. And some comics have been like, they have to be consistent. And if they're consistent with their material, they get booked. So one of the girls I met here in San Diego, she, after like, I think about almost a year, I think it's like 9 or 10 months, she finally got booked. And mind you, some of the bookings, you don't get paid. You don't get paid. Some you do. But it takes years. I just got lucky. I just happened to be there at the right place at the right time. I got lucky. And a lot of people tell me that I'm crazy because I traveled from San Diego to LA, and it's, 4, almost 5 hours of commuting round trip. But I also work in LA at a bar, so it kind of like, I'm hitting two birds with one stone. And some people think I'm crazy. They're like, you're out of your mind. And I'm like, okay, that's your opinion, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's fine. I can either respectfully, I can either respect your opinion or not. And some of them I really don't give a shit. And so yeah, so that's what happened. Um I I think there's a couple of I think there's another Arab comic. She's Iraqi Muslim, and she's also doing stand-up comedy. There's also another comic. She's Palestinian Muslim. I'm the only Arab comedian that is not Muslim, but I don't think, I mean, that's just irrelevant. But there's a lot of Arab male comics that do this, and the fact that I'm coming up there and I'm delivering my material, being that I'm an Arab female, it's rare. And I'm just trying to break the cycle because I think it's BS that it's all like a male dominant, industry. It's like, well, we can do it too, but it takes a lot of guts to get on stage and do this. It takes a lot of guts. It's not easy. Trust me, I get nervous. I might not look nervous on stage, but I get freaking nervous, you know? So, um, anyway, that's what's going on. I just wanted to update you. And yeah, I've got new material that's coming up, and I'm gonna be at Club Haha again tomorrow night doing another open mic. And yeah, so that's my time. I've got to get to the gym and go work out. And yeah, so if anybody has any questions or, comments, whatever, you know what to do. You like my posts, subscribe, and yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go now. Peace.